Thank you for joining. Today is a very special day. First of all, we're recording this in the springtime, and springtime makes us very joyful. But sometimes we're not so joyful because our health is not where we want it to be. Today's guest is a very impressive man. He is an international speaker, an author, an educator, and he's also a storyteller of health and human potential. Help me welcome Dr. Hulsebus, or also known as Kyle. Hi, dude. Dr. Kyle Hulsebus, how are you doing today?
Great, Elena. Great. Thanks for having me on to speak about health and human potential and how to maintain that.
You know, today it's a very interesting day because that's your favorite thing to talk about, and that's one of my favorite things to talk about. So we're gonna have fun today. Are you ready to have some fun? Like I tell my nephews when they get in my car, I said, "Are you guys ready to have fun?" And if they're not loud enough, I'll just ask until they almost break the window. So, are you ready to have fun?
Indeed.
All right. So the first question that I want to ask is, I have seen you all over social media, and you say something about 40 over 40. What is that about?
Look, so the 40 over 40 is a series of videos and health tips. It's a health initiative. And the real title of it is the 40 over 40. It's 40 tips to maximize health and longevity after 40 years of age. And there's the 40 is, I tell people, I go, well, the 40 tips is sort of arbitrary because it goes along with 40 years. It was more, what can we do to help maximize health and longevity and human potential after the age of 40, when a lot of people seem like they're looking, they're lost, they're trying to find the next stage. And so we put simple tips together that people can take or utilize in any way they really want. And we're dividing it up into many different iterations so we can have it specific for women, for men, for because of the stuff that I'm into, for comic creators, for writers, for gamers, many different aspects that we're looking at. So that's all launching later this year.
I have so many conversations with individuals where they literally say, you know, on your 40th birthday, your gift is your eyes actually start with, you need glasses, you can't read anymore. It's just like it happens exactly at that age. What is the most common prognosis on men over 40 with regards to their health?
You know, the interesting thing, and I'm not going to dodge your question. I'm going to sort of reword it. It's let me explain how I came about the 40 over 40. And it was in a conversation with a friend of mine. And he asked me, he said, "What's the average age of patients you see in your chiropractic office?" And I said, if I sat and I thought about it, it's probably anywhere from like 45 to 50 or 55. And he said, you know, why is that? And when I started to look at it, I go, because really around the age of 40, it's more that we probably have a little stability in our lives at that point. Mm-hmm. And when I see a lot of those individuals because in chiropractic, we're not quick fix, we're how do we create this overall health and expression of health and longevity. It's, you know, if they got married young, then the kids are getting ready to graduate high school. A lot of them are pretty stable in their relationship. They finally have money, stability, insurance. They know where they're at in their job. They're interested in learning different things or going out and sort of taking control of their life. They're on the bowling team or, you know, part of the different groups they want to be. And one thing they're looking at is they're going, you know, physically, I'm starting to have these issues that everybody says I'm going to have at 40. And I usually look at them and I go, well, it just means you need to work a little bit harder at this age to keep it at the same level that you had it younger. Let's help you get to that point. And I will tie in all those different aspects of health across their job, their relationships, what they want to learn, even their social leadership. And I'll even talk about their, you know, spiritual, whichever way they want to go with that. So when somebody comes in, they go, what's the prognosis for me? I look and I can go, well, depending on all the different factors in your life, how much effort is necessary for you, and how much are you willing to do to achieve what you want to achieve? And a lot of those times I go, well, I don't know what I want to achieve. And I go, well, great. That's probably a great way to start, because then I tell people we will set health goals, and that's not necessarily a physical thing, but the most common thing people tell me, and they come in with a leg pain, or they have, chronic headaches or digestive issues, and they go, I just want to be out of pain. I go, well, that's not a real wise goal. And the reason being is I can probably get you a bunch of drugs that'll get you out of pain. And they go, well, I don't want to be on drugs. I go, great. So you don't really want to be out of pain. You want to, I say, what is this stopping you from doing that you really want to do? And then you start to see, well, I want to travel with my wife, or I want to work less, or I want to get a management position, or I want to, be able to save money. And I don't, and all these various different things. I go, great. Now let's start talking about getting you healthy, and we'll figure out how your physical body is going to add into that. And so prognosis at 40, people talk about, I'm going to break down at 40, your metabolism, that's actually BS. Your metabolism really won't start to slow down until you're in your 60s.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so, and then you get all the, I call it the snake oil salesmen are out there going, well, you got to look at this, you got to look at this. I have the same type of conversations with women too, when they're hitting the menopause age and that. And I go, well, get over some of the myths. Let's talk about potential, not destruction. Are there certain things you're not going to do again in your 40s? Possibly. But I mean people that are competitive skydivers that are in their 50s. I've got people in their 80s that are still going up on their roofs and fixing stuff and doing everything mechanically. People in their 80s that are on their third marriage because they keep outliving people and they love having great relationships. And I see so much potential in people that when they come in their 40s and their 50s and they're like, ugh. And I go, no, I said, stop letting people tell you that it's over. Yes. Do you have limitations that you need to find creative ways to overcome? Absolutely. So when I give out various, and then reason like on my over 40 is 5-minute long videos with simple health tips to say, choose the ones that work. This is no habit building. This is no creation. It's choose the ones that work that maybe you didn't think about to add to that, because these are things to help get you centered and say, let's look at the potential of life rather than what's going to break down in my life. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That's what you mean with storyteller about health and human potential. And that's precisely what you're doing. So it's not about what's broken. It's about maximizing and living the healthiest way, focusing more on that rather than something to fix. I love that. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, most individuals choose to go to the doctor because they perceive to have a problem, right? Which it's something the body's telling them. So,
well, let's see, so let's add so I tell the story of health. Now, the definition of health's an old English word. It's Anglo-Saxon. It goes back 1,500 years or more. Mm-hmm. And we really not changed that word in the English language. Mm-hmm. Actually, if we get into the Latin languages, we'll find that there's a lot of similarity even going back to Latin. So, but the word health itself, if we break it down to heal and the TH, literally means a state or a condition of wholeness or whole being. In the old medical dictionary or the old Merriam-Webster definition of health used to be a state of wholeness in which all the organs of the body function together at 100% of the time. And there's nothing in there about sickness or disease in health, is there? Because a lot of people, in order to be healthy, it means I don't have symptoms. That's got nothing to do with it. If a baby throws up because they had poison, they're healthy. If you try to stop them throwing up poison, then we've got trouble. So we go through cycles of ease and dis-ease in health because that's normal, that's natural. We're going to have different stuff. And obviously as we age and we go through time, we're going to have different symptoms. But the other way that I look at things in my office is I'm a doctor. Mm-hmm. And the word doctor comes from the Latin docere, meaning to teach. Mm. And teach is a little different than educate, but educate ties in with that. So because I said, well, why are PhDs doctors? MDs are doctors of medicine. DOs are doctors of osteopathy. DCs are doctors of chiropractic arts and sciences. That's what we're doctors of. It means you're very learned, meaning you have knowledge you can pass on. And I call myself an educator, not a teacher, simply because educate comes from exducere, we think, we're not 100% positive, meaning to lead forth, to lead out of darkness of ignorance into light. And so I feel that 90% of my job as a doctor in healthcare is to educate people about the potential of their health, their limitations and their maximizations. So one of my 40 health tips is actually learn to ask quality questions of your healthcare provider. Because people go in and they think, okay, but I'm not really certain about that. I don't necessarily want people to rely on the internet because there's more false information on the internet than anywhere else, and you want clinical experience to interpret things. But at the same time, it's a matter of, yes, go to the healthcare providers for your problems, but ask them to clarify, try to get information, know what questions to ask. The best way you can educate yourself is knowing what to ask.
I love what you said. And it also reminds me about this video I saw of you talking about shifting health from outside in to inside out.
Exactly.
And can you, I know you just talk a little bit about that even without mentioning it, but is it okay to elaborate a little more about that?
So health is a state of whole being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in all parts of your life. So I talk about when I educate, when I teach, when I speak, I educate on health in your spiritual life, health, healthy company. You want a healthy bottom line, we talk about, right? You want to have a healthy social life, healthy relationships. You want to have a healthy financial situation. That's states of whole being, meaning they have ups and downs because health goes up and down. Same as all things in nature. Only machines go straight. We aren't machines. We're organic, natural, biological. We adapt to constantly changing situations. It's what makes it to where we can keep going, where all nature just persists. As Ian Malcolm said in Jurassic Park, life will find a way. And that's part of that up and down adaptive process that we go through. What the perception is, and I'm bashing individuals, just sort of concepts, but I call it the medical viewpoint is that we're lacking something from the outside we need to bring in.
Okay.
And then the way I was raised in chiropractic and the philosophy underneath chiropractic is we have an internal state of health. We just need to make certain there's no interference to express it. Mm-hmm. Occasionally we want stuff from the outside to assist our bodies, especially if we get into stuff. Usually it's because we get into stuff from the outside that needs some type of assistance out there. But for the most part, it's what are you doing for this internal state and all the different aspects, all the dynamics. Don't just worry about the physical. You want to worry about the spiritual, mental, emotional. How are you relating to all the things around you? How are you adapting? And the main focus of the 5 signs of life in biology and chiropractic is adaptation. We want to remove interference so that your health will express from above, down through the body, and from the inside express out. Then I don't have to worry about changing my environment to suit my body. I can suit my body to the environment.
I love that. You just creating a revolution of questions here in my head. But you said something about philosophy and the way you learned chiropractor. I cannot help it, but I noticed that you come from a generation of third generation of chiropractors.
Indeed.
What has been? Let me think about this question. How is that important to you, and how do you know the difference between you want to dedicate your life to this specific trade that your ancestors have done and you want to do something different? How do you make that decision? How do you get to make that decision? It's obvious that you love what you do. I can see that. I can hear that. I can perceive that. But I can see also generations where individuals just do because they think that it's the thing to do is generational, right? And legacy. So how do you got to the conclusion that this is what you wanted to do?
I'm so glad you asked. So people ask, they say, how'd you come to chiropractic? You just jumped into it because your dad was in it. I go, no, I took the scenic route. Because when I was a teenager, I said, I'm never going to do what my dad does. Okay. So, right. And wow, I love chiropractic. I love what he does. I'm not going to do that. I went to school for theater. I went for writing, creative writing. I've been a freelance writer. I've been an actor. I've been a sound designer. I've been a shoe salesman. I've been a bartender. I've been a travel writer. I went and I lived my life, and I was all over the place. I have a degree in theater arts. I have a degree in English literature, with somehow a minor in Buddhist philosophy, and I did my own thing for the longest time. When I was living in Chicago years ago, after I just kind of stopped moving around the world for a while, I became very good friends, just chatting with people, a lot of other regulars in places that I went to write and to work. And I had my one friend who said, I really, he'd chat with me, and he knew we were in chiropractic because I brought it up. This is what my dad does. And I didn't know a lot about it. And he said, I really want to, I need help. I'm having trouble. I need help. And he said, I want to see your dad. I said, well, I can call my dad and find somebody that's close because my dad's 2 hours from here. And he goes, no. I've been talking to you. You know what you're talking about. I want to see your dad, not some other guy, because clearly it's bled through. Now, that was the first time somebody said, I can, even though I didn't have expertise in it, obviously I talked it up enough that he said, no, this is where I want to go. And so I said, great, here's where he is. And so he drove, I think like 90 minutes or so every day. And my dad said, this is the schedule you got to be on. So he just went to his boss and said, I'm going to be late these days. This is for my health. This is for my life. This is for my future. This is for my kids. I have to do this. So he went and he did it, and it really helped him. And, I found out years later from my dad that mentally he was in a real bad place. I mean, he had pills, he had all this stuff. Nothing was helping. He was really thinking there wasn't a lot of reason to keep going. And that really saved his life, changed his life. So that was the first instance that I was like, wow. You hear about, you helped my leg pain, you helped my headaches. Mm-hmm. That was the first instance where I really heard that you saved my life, because this pain was ruining it, and I didn't think there was a point in going on. And then the second thing is I was doing copywriting. I used to write some of your junk mail, and I was doing it through a course, and one of the things they wanted me to work on and submit a sample for was actually for a health product. It was for a supplement, and wanted me to chart, study all these superfoods, and because that whole idea, you can't sell anything you don't really believe in, unless you're a really good faker, I guess. But
faker.
But I can. If I don't really believe in it, I probably can't sell it to you.
Yeah.
So I'm down at the Chicago Public Library, and I'm researching garlic. I know so much about garlic and the history of garlic. And I kept calling my dad up going, I'm really having trouble with this. And I was talking to him about it. I go, here's what they're saying, this and this. And I said, it doesn't make any logical sense to me. You can't take a supplement from the outside and change the expression of health within. It just doesn't work that way. And he goes, right. He goes, because I raised you in chiropractic philosophy, and it is conflicting with your understanding of reality. So, and can I swear on here?
Of course.
Oh, great. He goes, will you just go get the fucking degree so you can start helping people? And I said, okay. So I packed up, and I was almost 30 when I finally went to chiropractic college. And fortunately I had most of the prereqs. I had to do a little bit, and then I jumped in. But yeah, if I'd gone right into it at 21, I certainly would have been practicing longer. But as that other people look and they go, don't you wish you hadn't wasted so much time? And I go, but if you look at the thread of my life, I go, I had to keep building that. I couldn't speak now without the understanding of the theater that gave me. I couldn't speak now without knowing this history of English literature. I couldn't understand it without the Buddhist and the pagan philosophies that I studied to get my literature degree. I wouldn't be able to without having bartended and interacted with thousands of different people at the bar and gotten their stories and collected them and understood the different challenges they had. I wouldn't have gotten to it without the interaction with my friend and seeing how much that hit them, and just having that life experience of traveling through all the cultures of Europe by myself when I was in my 20s, and just all these different things. I wouldn't have met my wife because we wouldn't have had anything in common. And so, and I would have gone to school 10 years before, but it's, none of that would exist. And I told an individual that asked me that, and I said, every single day I use every single thing I learn in order to help people. And I said, I can guarantee that. And you can challenge me on it, and I can show you every way, every class I've ever taken in my life contributes to what I'm teaching you today in order to help you have health.
I love what you're saying. And I would like to, stay with this conversation, because in my business and in many, many, many conversations that I have with individuals, I perceive there's a challenge and a conflict within, because they perceive they're in the wrong profession, in the wrong place, and the wrong, where they, not only that, but the conflict comes from what I'm doing is working against what I really want to do. Not only just being and I want to use the word at peace with what they're doing, but actually angry about that situation. And a lot of those things, a lot of those individuals, they want to do something, and I'm going to say it this way, even though there's a lot of different perceptions on this, but some individuals might perceive that what they have done has created a reputation and it's a little more scientific. Rather, what they want to do and create is a little more spiritual. They separate those things when in reality, instead of integrating. So, how would you speak? Actually, I would love do you help individuals with this specific subject?
To an extent. I don't do coaching or anything with anybody. I don't.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what would you tell? Let's take you back to your bartending. By the way, I'm going to have a bartender here to share some stories here, but let's take you back to the bartending, and you have an individual who is there having a drink on a Friday afternoon and tired of doing something that he just doesn't enjoy, doesn't love, and think is useless for what he really wants to do. It's a man in the 30, I'm going to say 40s, because it's when, you talk about, that's when we actually give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves, to see what our needs are, right? And you are just preparing a drink for this individual. Maybe not preparing a drink. Maybe it's just pouring a whiskey, right?
Sure.
What would you tell this individual, or what would be your words of wisdom? And I ask this question because there are right now many individuals listening and thinking the same. How can I get out of this and do what I really love? I am wasting my life in this. What would you say? What would your wisdom be? Based on and I know you just said everything I've done has served me to do what I do now. But they might not see it. They might see this, again, working against, being an opposite. What would you words of wisdom be to that individual? That you're pouring a whiskey and it's complaining about his job and his, family makes it worse because he has to work for the family, and then he becomes resentful to the family, that he doesn't want to be resentful, but he's feeling stuck, right? Because he wants to do something different.
So, who I was as a bartender at 23 probably would have been a bit more sarcastic than Dr. Kyle. However, looking at it now, if I had somebody like that, it's questions that I've even asked, because I used to sit around when I wasn't working and I'd be writing stories, and people were afraid to sit near me because they thought I was writing down what they were saying. But I would look anymore, if I have an individual like that, I'd look at them and I go, have you actually talked to your family about this? Because usually it's no. But I know I can't. And I go, what stops you? Because the first hurdle then is you haven't even, you're talking to a stranger, which is easy. You now have to go do something hard and talk to your spouse and say, I'm terribly unhappy in my life. I love being with you and I want to support everybody. But I'm going down a path that I see sort of steamrolling into a wall, and I want to go down this path, and I want to start to work to transition. Can we sit and work on it? And you're going to find out a lot more by talking to somebody that you just partnered with, because I can give ideas and stuff, but in the end, it's go have that conversation. Now I know this is true. And I can give you a very specific example from my office, because I had an individual. He's a little bit more than a patient. He's a friend.
Okay.
And he was a machinist at where I'm at. There's a lot of factories and a huge industrial area. So he was a machinist at a place, and I'd known him for years. We helped him with a lot. I just watched his family grow up. And he just comes in one day and he goes, I can't do this anymore. And I believe the big change for him, because he wanted to do more with his life, and he, of course, they're worried about money and everything. And his wife had a specific, she was at a different job, not doing machinist, but similar things. And his father passed away, and that was kind of the trigger where he goes, I want to go study early childhood developmental psychology. And it was like, wow, that's a shift. And he goes, that's what I've wanted to do. And then he ended up going in and he went beyond that. I think he went beyond that. And he's gone into grief work and social work, which is magnificent. And he's completely transformed what he wanted to do. And he sat down with his wife. This is a specific story he told me. He goes, I sat down with my wife and we talked about it. And she said, go for it. We're going to take a hit for a little bit, but go for it. It's, you can't have this soul crushing path that you don't see an end to, and you're constantly having conflicts with the management and that about different things, and health problems are constantly showing up, of course, because your psyche is fighting with you all the time. And so he did that. And then recently his wife just shifted and she went into what she wanted to do now that the kids are in teenage years, and they just did it, but they spoke to each other. They had a plan. They didn't come talk to me. He came to tell me and said, we sat down and we chatted and we figured out a plan to go, because they're partners in life. They wanted to make sure the kids are taken care of. They wanted to make sure that obviously the life was taken care of and they could create stability while they did. But they sat down and they engaged and communicated and had conversation. So from a chiropractic language I can give is, without me doing anything, he self-adjusted and restored communication, and then he connected and went further. Because that individual at the bar that we're hypothetically talking about, he needs an adjustment. He doesn't communicate well.
So when you talk about earlier that I asked you about shifting health from outside in to inside out, part of that will be the communication that we individually have with ourselves, and how to learn to adjust that in our bodies so we can actually communicate with the exterior. Wow. Thank you.
Because what we look at in chiropractic is we look at the reason we're adjusting the spine is when the spine misaligns and starts putting pressure on nerves, we remove the brain's ability to 100% communicate to all the individual parts of the body and express. So all I say I do is I'm somebody who provides an adjustment to remove interference so we can restore communication and connection to all the parts so we can express. And then that will just steamroll out. That will exponentially shift to every single thing you interact with. So who knows? Maybe if we want to speculate, I can say when my friend first came and the first time we adjusted him, that started to shift his path. And years later, he finally hit that point. I don't know. That'd be a fun conversation for him and I to have.
I don't think I have ever seen or heard chiropractic being explained the way you did. And basically what I learning today is that by having an adjustment, your body restores communication from the brain to every other part in the body. And I don't think I ever seen it. And trust me, I had many conversations with chiropractors. This is a very interesting way of looking at things and why this is important. So let me ask you the big question. In addition to that, I have met individuals in their 40s and 50s, maybe older, but I don't have conversations about specific about this, who have never been on a chiropractor or chiropractic appointment. What makes the difference between going to a regular doctor versus going to, and by regular doctor, a doctor of medicine, I guess,
Sure.
versus a chiropractor?
You know what? There's information and misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
People are taught a certain way. MDs and chiropractors, everybody's their own individual. And so we have a lot of different ups and downs. So you hear good stories here, you hear bad stories there. Sometimes their advice all comes from, the MD, and the MD, is it safe for me to go to chiropractor? And you go, absolutely not. But their knowledge, even the MD's knowledge of chiropractic, comes from the internet more than anywhere else, which is foolish in its own right. But because when people ask me, they go, is it okay to take a pill? I go, well, I don't know. I don't study pills. You got to go ask the pill guy. It was not the pill guy, not the guy down on 7th Street in the alley, but you want to go ask a trained professional pharmacologist, pharmacist, medical doctor, osteopath, somebody that has knowledge of that in order to get the wisest thing, because they understand the biochemistry behind it. In fact, you're probably better off with the pharmacologist because they know how to make the stuff. But me giving out knowledge, go, oh no, they just drug everybody. They're pill pushers. Don't go there. And some people, if I have enough authority, they'll go, oh, right, you're right. And so when I get most people, we've trained people, at least I see it in the United States. I don't see it everywhere else the same way, but we've trained people that every time you have a problem, you have to go to the hospital, and it's either going to be take this medication or do this rub or just have therapy and hope it goes away. And the reason you only see 10% of the people in chiropractic offices is because we sit down and we look and we go, well, you can easily get your pain gone, but in order to take care of your actual issue, it's going to take some work.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But so you can do there's the McDonald's of chiropractic these days. They call it the joint chiropractic, and they're going to adjust you, but they're not going to give you full chiropractic care either.
So what I heard you saying is you can have one of those frozen meals and put them in the microwave and cook. And then, you're going to stop your hunger.
Absolutely.
But if you want to nourish your body, you have to actually invest the time to get the right ingredients and prepare a meal. So you have to make effort in order to, and it's the same, right? It goes to the body.
But let me clarify that point too, because some people will think I'm one way or another. But remember, there's a great need for medical doctors too, especially actual doctors.
I agree.
Because we're a shortage on them. And that frozen meal, if it's going to prevent starvation while you go get the healthy stuff, that's great.
Yes.
We just don't want to make it a lifestyle. We want to make it where we have this team where I've got the guys that are going to help me on the parts. We call them the parts guys, the medical doctors, the osteopaths. They're going to help on the parts. They're going to help make sure these parts are staying good. And if we need to check some stuff or we need something in order to keep our body functioning while we take care of the long-term health, great. Me and the chiropractic side and some of the other types of I guess there's some therapists and stuff out there that can help with moving stuff. They're then there to go, okay, let's look at the long term. In a chiropractic office, I'm looking at where's your spine going to be when you're 80, when you're 20, wow. When you're a teenager.
Kyle, what is it that many may look amazing on paper, but sometimes their lives are not in balance with regards to their health, their family, and other things?
Clarify that question. What?
Yeah, high-performing men who it seems like they have everything, together, but the reality is that sometimes they have things are missing or they're out of balance.
Go spend a day with them. Can really sit back. I've spent the days with some of those guys, and I've gone, holy shit. And they're like, well, yeah, I just... Yeah, or they're the ones that I've got to be up at 5 a.m. and then we got to be doing this, and I've got to have the shake, and it's got to be at this time. And I'm like, do you understand? And they're like, I don't understand why I get these little issues. And they're the ones that are my knee's bad. Rather than get my knee healthy, please just replace it because I can't stop moving. And I bet those guys, and you know what, they do fine. But if you spend the day with them, you'll start to find that it's over here, it's over here. So high performing can be an illusion. High performing can also mean that they are high performing, but all of them are going to have lows. Sometimes they want to go in and get a quick fix because they're getting into a low. But I've also met men that are quote unquote high performing where they're very much imbalanced because they're high performing because they know to just ride the low and go back to the high and let it cycle through, and they understand cycles. But then you get others that live in that bit of an illusion and they think, oh, I see these guys all the time, I have to be up like that. And they don't understand that's the machine part. They think it's a straight line. They don't realize that nature and life goes like this.
Like what you say about the machinery.
It's ups and downs. The machine. That's why like Waymo, they just said that Waymo had 90% less auto accidents last year with its self-driving stuff than humans. I go, yes, because the machine isn't going to get angry at the other driver. It's not in a hurry. It has no real objective other than to go from A to B in the safest manner possible based on it. It's going to go straight through. It's not going to have deviation from that. You can get in front of it and stop the Waymo, and it's just going to stand there and wait for you to move. A human is going to go, okay, I need to take a breath now and go around this obstacle and go through that. Humans have ups and downs. And no matter what we do, even if we somehow download our intelligence to machine, the humanity in there and the biology that's inherent in that is going to say, we're going to have ups and downs. And that's how you adapt. If we're stuck here, the machine can't adapt. It's got to be on that straight line. And then social media has certainly fueled the illusion of everybody's here all the time, and there's just no truth to that when you get into reality. And in our office, we cluster book, so we have times where we're busy and times where we can catch up and Rex, and then go back, and then we can be on 100% for all our people. Same thing when I'm booking speaking engagements. I'm like, I'll do a few here, and then I'm going to go and collect myself, and then I'll come back and jump into it again. So high-performing men, when you see the ones that are like that and then you go visit them and you see that, oh, this is crumbling over here, it's like, stop. You need an adjustment because you're not communicating somewhere. Mm-hmm. Whether you're not talking to yourself or whether you're not talking to the other individuals over here, or you're not really being honest with yourself about this is the way I really want my life to be, and the hell with it, you'll start to see it show up. It will show up physically. I've seen those guys come in and I look at them and I go, you got to stop whatever you're doing because it's going to kill you. And I can't fix that.
So if the body is giving you enough feedback, stop, think, and look for help. Because there's a problem. Okay.
Or on the other hand, it's okay, some maybe injury you had when you were 18 has finally caught up to you. Mm-hmm. And it's saying, hey, we're doing great with the function. You're living a balanced life. The parts cannot keep adapting. You need to go in and see, this orthopedic guy. You need somebody to help you get that back in shape because you got something you're trying to overcome. Your body can't quite get there. That's where we work with all these surgeons and that too. I have one individual, he had terrible accident 45 years ago, and it's fine. He's healthy, he's physical, he's functional. It's just finally 45 years later, catching up to him, like, dude, you got to go over and see these guys, and then we'll keep you on track after that. And he's like, great. And he's doing great. And so, you can have it both ways. So your body's not necessarily saying, hey, your lifestyle's killing you. It might also be saying, hey, it's really just a signal to say, hey, there's something going on.
Okay.
And you'd be wise to go check into it and see where is it coming from. So the reason I look at all these different aspects of health and in life is because I might have somebody and I go, why is he not getting better?
Oh.
What's stopping this? Because everything, according clinically, you came in here and at this point, this is where I would expect you to be, but you're still here. What's going on that it does this? Mm-hmm. It keeps pulling you back down to where you were. Then you got to look and go, okay, where are we at? You have to have very dynamic. That's what wholeness is. That's why we're holistic doctors.
Wow. Another one. Okay. Wow. I have, again, many questions, but I'm going to ask you something a little different, simple, and I just want to know what you got to say about this. When I say financial legacy, what comes to you, and what do you have to say about that?
With financial legacy, the thing I think is, what do you want to leave behind? What do you want to create that can still be there afterward?
Okay. And how can you, in your business, working with your father and maybe other relatives, working with family is not easy. Every individual, I'm not sure, but I presume your father doesn't have the same background that you have on theater and writing and all of these things. Probably he does, probably he doesn't. But the very fact that we grow up so different and you have the opportunity to explore the world before you even went to the chiropractic career tells me that your background, your desires, and your knowledge and your tools are a little different than your father. How do you guys work together in the same office? And sometimes you might not agree on things. And I don't even know if you share stories or treat the same patients. And how do you reconcile that or get to a solution with a specific care of a patient?
You don't stop communicating. It's obviously I have newer, probably more science knowledge than my father. My brother does too. We were both in school roughly the same time. And so we've got a different way of looking at things and different solutions for stuff than my father. But at the same time, my father and then the other doctors in the clinic, we've got, he's got over 50 years of clinical experience. You'd be foolish to discount that. But you can also find that he can be wrong. So it can be, hey, Dr. Jim, I need your opinion on this case. And he can say to do that, and you can go do it. And you're going to go the same way that you will in everything else. We're going to make certain that, is this going the way that it is based on the knowledge and the experience and the examination show. And then if it's not, I go back and go, what else you got? He said, I don't know. I said, well, then we're going to go down this route. But in order to work with somebody, if he says you're doing it wrong, you're not taking very good care of this patient, then I'm just going to say, okay, what do I need to do differently? And it's that same thing. It's communicate. In order to get over any conflict, you can sit and you can yell at each other. You can be angry. You can let the emotions come out. You can do this. You can butt heads. You can get into a fist fight. We got Irish blood, and so it's. And we're Germans too, so let's go.
Oh boy,
exactly.
I'd love to see in that office.
So, but if we're going to have something like that, which honestly it doesn't happen as often as you'd think, but there's certainly probably more conflicts between me and my brother than me and my father at this point in my life. But it's more a matter of, all right, we're going to walk away and we're going to come back and talk in 10 minutes. But we're not just going to completely ignore it and not speak to it, because that's not going to further the objectives that we've set for the mission of taking care of people here. And even as simple as Kyle, you're out of the office a lot because you're doing the speaking, you keep traveling, you're going on these things. I'm going to miss in order to be recording on different shows. I'm probably not going to be in there a little bit. And I go, listen, I'm doing this to help promote what I'm doing. I'm helping doing this so we can have a greater reputation globally. We already see people that come from all over the place. We're trying to promote the clinic more, even locally, from doing stuff in here. So I'm working on all that on this side so that we don't have to, sit there and strain ourselves so much. He's like, all right, I get that. I just wish I could do it. I said, then get rid of your kids and you will have the time to do that. He's like, yeah, you're right. Because we've both made objectives in our own lives about the different things that we want to do and accomplish. And we just have to sit and see, how do we come together commonly in order to achieve the objectives overall that we have, the vision we have that we share and we conflict with sometimes in our office. But if we don't talk about it, it's that same thing with the guy at the bar saying, I got to do it for my wife and I got to do it for that. And I go, well, then go talk. Because without communication, I listened to a speaker, several years ago, I heard a speaker named T.D. Jakes. He's a bishop. Aside from the one time, I've never heard of him, but I guess he's a very well-known speaker. But it was something he said profoundly that actually stuck with me from several years ago. And he said, don't drop the mic. He said, if you got a conflict in your marriage, you got a conflict with your boss, he said, as soon as you drop the mic, it means you said you're done communicating, it's over. Once we've severed communication, it's over. If I sever a nerve, it's over. It ain't coming back. So as long as there's even a chance, Christopher Reeve taught us that, as long as there's even a chance that it can still be communicating, communicate, work, talk, do that. That's going to keep that relationship going. It may not go the direction you want it to go, but at least it's not going to turn into this.
Wow.
So that's how we do that.
That's a mic dropping moment.
No. We're not dropping mics.
Not dropping
We're going to keep communicating. I'm not into mic drop. I'm not into walk away or nothing. I would rather have the continued conversation. I call it's a term I created in my head years ago when I was in my 20s. I call it the great conversation of humanity. I'm only here to help continue pieces of the great conversation of humanity. If I drop this mic and I say, I got it, I'm out, I'm not interested in continuing that conversation. And my life is dedicated to continuing that.
So I guess you and I were born to be on the mic then.
Oh, I'm in my recording studio, so I'm on the mic.
We're not even done, and I want to offer my invitation to come back at a later time. And I know you will continue to create amazing things. It seems that you're very inspired. Do you have any specific program for men?
Now, I don't have one that I would call specifically for men. And we're doing a re-release at the moment of my 40 over 40. It's something you can go to 40over40.com and you can get on the early bird stuff and get going with that. If you're listening to this at a later date, you can just get on it. But it's 40over40.com and get on that. And right now it's very general, but it's 40 health tips, videos. You'll be able to get audios with that when we do it to listen to, but it's 40 just 4 to 5 minute long videos with different health tips with things maybe you haven't considered. And if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're 20 years old, this is not, 40 was like, again, we chose 40 because we were seeing that's where individuals started to really question. We took that from Dante Alighieri. And also Carl Jung. But, so it wasn't specifically for men, but you can take that as a general piece at this point, and you can start to use that as, hey, I never thought of asking it this way. I didn't think about just going and people watching. I didn't think about questioning my belief system. I didn't think about maybe just playing games. Of course, lots of adult men these days play games in many different ways. If I ask certain women, they'll say, yes, they play games.
Yes, we do.
But I'm talking about, like Walt Disney said, the thing we forget is we forget how to be 12 years old. Go out there and do that. It's a lot of different things that I've read and individuals and biographies and quotes. Those inspired a lot of these different things. And even individuals that I know personally said, this is a great health tip. That's a great health tip. We are expanding this over the course of time. You will soon see the 40 over 40 for men. And it is going to be specific a little bit to, we know certain struggles that happen with men. And I said, this would be a great thing. We even want to spin off a little bit, since I take care of so many veterans with different types of PTSD and different long-term issues, both with and without, that I'm going to sit down with some of those guys, because it's mostly guys, though I know there's women in that category as well. But to sit down with them and go, okay, what are things we can do because of suicide prevention in that? We're going to do a 40 over 40 for women. We're also going to do it for gamers, because I myself am a tabletop gamer, but I want it for video gamers and tabletop gamers, all these different aspects. So it is going to come. We will have that. But right now, I've got this general piece for you to use in your health.
I love that. I knew you play games.
Of course.
Okay, so
for many years.
Let's play a game. Are you
I'm game.
Game? Are you game? Okay, so let's play role for a little bit.
Okay.
Let's create a story about, what do you want to do? You want to do a little bit of drama, a little bit of health, a little bit of mind, a little bit, I know what I'm going to do.
Go.
I am a wife of a man who is struggling with PTSD. How about that?
Okay.
And you are a very masculine, big mustache. I love men with mustache. And you're trying to guide me into my little wimpy personality and struggle, stressing me about my husband being, he just came back from the service, or he's retiring from service. He doesn't know what to do with his life. And by the way, I don't really have experience in that. We're gonna role play. I'm gonna be a female, you're gonna be a male. All right. So
You want me to be like super masculine? Just
I want you to do the voice, yes, so
be the man.
be the man, yes, and I want to be the wimpy little voice,
Okay.
the housewife that doesn't understand and just dedicated her life to kids, but loves to see the whole family healthy. Okay, here we go. Hi, Dr. Kyle.
Elena, welcome. How can I help you today?
I'm really worried today because I don't know how to explain this. I want to help my husband. He's not sleeping. He's not playing with the kids. He's playing video games. And we fight constantly, and I don't know what to do, Dr. Kyle.
Will you tell him to stop it? Be a man.
I tried that. It didn't work.
Well then, perhaps we need to see, where is he not communicating with himself?
Dr. Kyle, are you Viking or are you Scottish? Because
No idea.
how do I know? How do I know how he's not communicating with himself?
You say you're fighting all the time.
Yes.
Do you ever just talk?
Wow. I never thought about that.
What brought you together in the first place?
His desire for life. He was such a happy guy. I like to listen to him speaking. And I wanted to have a family. I knew he would protect me.
And does he?
Yes, he does.
Have you told him that?
I have not.
Go back and remember what it was that originally you loved to talk about when you met.
Dr. Kyle, you're making me cry.
Remember what called you to this relationship.
Yes.
And go talk to him. Converse, communicate, talk about your dreams. If he's returning from service and there's things he's not willing to share, that's fair. So say, where do you want to go? And how can we partner our way through it?
Yes, because I'm worried. He's home all day now with the kids and we fight a lot and I don't want to lose my
What do you
family
fight
and
about?
my husband. I'm not even sure. I think we fight about everything, so I need to think about that.
So it means you're not communicating. Or it's one-sided if it's anything. And there's a lot of lashing out. At some point, sit down and talk. If you send him to a therapist, they're going to talk.
So he will talk to the therapist, but not to me?
That might be possible, but you can go to group stuff. I'm not fairly familiar with therapy. But why don't you be the one that talks to him? Instead of fights him.
Thank you, Dr. Kyle.
But sometimes he does need a kick in the ass.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
I want to love my husband, but it's hard when he's fighting with me.
So ask just to talk. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe go to a different location that's fairly neutral. These are suggestions.
Thank you, Dr. Kyle. You're so amazing.
Some of the best relationships I've ever seen are ones that started speaking, just by speaking.
You're right. We used to speak a lot for hours and hours and hours. And I love that about him. He's so intelligent. And I like listening to him. I'm going to ask him to talk to me again.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Kyle.
You don't need fancy dates. You don't need fancy places. You can go out to the park or a place that has meaning to you and just walk. And if it's silent, it's silent. There's still communication and connection in silence. And as my grandmother always told me, you have 2 ears and one mouth. So you can listen twice as much as you speak.
And I love listening to him.
So get him to talk.
Get him to talk.
First talk to him, and then he'll probably just start to come out with it.
Yeah. I think you're right. Thank you.
Communication, connection, expression of health.
Expression of health.
Yes, expression. All right.
And done. Thank you. Thank you for that. Actually, I got tears because I can think of the many relationships that I observe, and probably I even had in the past where I have been a little bit challenged or because of the communication. And a lot of women and men start a relationship in the way that they forget about those things at a later time. So thank you for the reminder. And for those of you listening there, just take this as a little, it's another way of playing games, and to see if you can apply it. We all humans have challenges here and there, and many different times.
Ups and downs. And downs.
And sometimes it's not even a husband or a wife. It's a relationship of other kind. Mm-hmm. Or work, right?
It's your work.
Very well. I love, and I will take that information and pass it on. And hopefully everybody else listening here, if you think that was helpful, just invite someone else to do that. Very well. So what is your favorite part of storytelling?
Stories are so universal to culture. There's no culture, people in the world, there's no child in the world that does not innately tell stories. Mm-hmm. So story, I believe, is the most universal medium for us to teach ourselves and others. And you see that's not just folklore and mythology. You can watch kids. I admit myself as a kid. They have imagination. They make up stories. They start to tell stories to themselves and others. And it's innately natural.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. And I love sharing stories too when I speak. So do you change your voices when you tell a story?
When I'm reading books, and if I'm trying to do voices and stuff like that, certainly. One of the great requests I've had through the years is to please do audiobooks. So one reason I have a recording studio here is to work on stuff like that and to be able to do voices for my nephews and niece. Yes, there's definitely voices.
I have some definitely nephews and nieces that would love to hear about that. All right. Are you ready? Kyle, before that, is there something that is important for you to share that I didn't ask you a question about?
No, but I want to reiterate that health is a state of wholeness. Health is an internal state. In order for you to express and adapt, take that with you. rather than health being the opposite of sick and disease. Health is a state of ease and dis-ease and cycles.
I have more questions, but I would love to go in a rapid fire questions right now, just to change the energy. And then I'm going to ask you an important question. Well, all questions are important. So I'm going to say 1 or 2 words, and you're just going to answer whatever comes first to you. Okay? No, you can say 1 or 2 things, but as quick as we can. All right. You ready?
Sure.
Evolution.
Yes?
Work.
Maybe.
Manhood.
Complicated.
Stress.
Not real.
Suffering.
Illusion.
Women.
Lovely.
Health.
Internal, innate, whole.
A job.
Something to do.
School.
Place to dumb down minds.
Education.
To lead forth from darkness.
Men.
Individuals.
Time.
An illusion.
By the way, you can change your voice when you answer. Anytime. Fear.
Fear is the mind killer.
Ooh.
From
social media.
Social media is a fucking poison.
Okay, that was like your voice. Fulfillment.
Fulfilling the mind.
Pornography.
Pornography?
Mm-hmm.
Way of life.
AI.
Not true intelligence.
Connection.
Important.
Mind. Our mind.
Mind is, mind, rather than get rapid fire, mind is both an illusion and reality.
I love that. Spirituality.
Spirituality is your connection with knowing yourself and your connection to the world around you.
Oh, I love that. Happiness.
Happiness is a one-sided state.
Soul.
Soul is very similar to spirituality.
Mm-hmm. Gratitude.
Gratitude is how you express soul and spirituality.
Authority.
Authority, to author, to work. Somebody in charge.
Somebody in charge. Empowerment.
Empowerment, to bring your mind and your body to a being in a state of power.
Parents.
Parents, ones who raise kids and sometimes love them.
Authenticity.
Authenticity is the Zen state where you don't think about what you say.
Identity.
Identity is who you perceive that you are. It is shifting with names.
Society.
Society is a collective of individuals determined to stamp out individualism, but at the same time allow them to live together in the collective.
Emotions.
Emotions are things we need in order to deal with stuff and also give us feedback to step back.
Legacy.
Legacy is stuff that comes beyond you.
Leadership.
Willing to be different.
I love that. Values.
Opposite of your void.
Money.
State of exchange.
Monogamy.
Monogamy is... I'm going to think too hard about that one.
That's fine. Then let's go with polygamy.
Polygamy is too complicated.
Hey, intimacy.
Intimacy is communication.
Conversation.
The means of moving on through life.
The true. What is a true?
The true? Just the true?
Mm-hmm.
Or the truth?
The truth.
The truth. The truth is something we'll never really know.
The lie.
The lie is also something we'll never know.
Body.
Body is expression of spirit.
Family.
Family is expression of spirit in multiple individuals.
Wealth.
Ooh. Wealth is your state of health.
Mm-hmm. Pain.
Feedback.
Pleasure.
More feedback.
Fatherhood.
Not as defined as it seems.
Wife.
Spouse. Partner.
Husband.
Partner.
Career.
Thing you do for many years. Fluid.
Service.
Service is what you give.
Music.
Music is universe.
Life.
Life is where the music plays.
Death.
Death is just another wheel.
God.
God is whatever you want it to be.
Love.
Love is a state of wholeness.
All right. So I was going to ask you this question, and then it became more intriguing to me when you answer stress. You said, do you remember what you said when I asked stress?
Not real.
Okay, so the question I was going to ask you is, most individuals perceive that stress is like poison to the body.
Mm-hmm.
So in many illnesses and conditions start from there. And when you said stress is not real, now I'm intrigued. What do you mean?
So, I mean, stress is real, obviously, because we can measure. But the way people look at it, see, people want stress to be something that breaks them down, and I go, well, stress is just simply there. What stress is it's universal forces working on your internal forces of your body, of innate intelligence of your body. Is simply adapting you constantly to the universal external forces acting on it. That's what adaptation is. So stress, and we go, oh, I'm so stressed, it's giving me a headache. And I go, but you have the exact same amount of stress before and after the headache. Like you didn't just gain more. You didn't have this. I joke with people sometimes and go, well, you may have too many kids. You may have too many spouses. You may, and you're getting headaches. But at the same time, I know really all it is there's interference in the communication of your brain to its part, and you're not adapting to the situations you're in as efficiently, and so you end up with a symptom. But that doesn't mean you have too much stress. It just means that you're not adapting. So stress is real, but yeah, the way people come and tell me stress caused my problem, and I go, but stress isn't smart enough to only give you a problem in your right shoulder.
That is interesting. I'm going to summarize the most important part that I learned here today. And also in my book, you're going for the Doctor of Wealth. That's my name to you. What I will say to summarize this episode is that when you go to the doctor, focus on your health instead of in your illness, whatever that is, because you will only go to the doctor if something is out of whack. That's how I summarize this. Sure. Or the most relevant thing. If you would give a name to this episode, what would the name be? The name?
Health and Human Potential.
Health and Human Potential. I love this. And if I ask you, well, who will be the right person, a friend or famous that will be the right person for this podcast, who will you say?
That I would have listened to this?
Mm-hmm. Or be my guest. Be my guest. Who will be the right guest?
Somebody could be on your show that would be able to talk on this really well. I have a colleague from school.
Okay, I would love to invite him if you want to connect us. Absolutely. I also wanted to invite anyone who has an amazing story. It doesn't matter how complicated it looks. It doesn't matter how inspiring it looks. If you have a story to tell, speaking of storytelling, I want to welcome you. Please connect with us at Intimate Conversations with Men chiropractic.com. You're going to find an email and a phone number there. Thank you for being here. And I definitely want to extend the invitation again to come back. And I know we can have so many subjects and around health and human potential. Kyle, I would love for you to share anything about your clinic, where you're located, who would you like to invite just to, come and see you, and what kind of state they are. And also at the end, I want you please to give us your wisdom. Close with something that people remember. Thank you.
Okay. Sales first.
Sales first.
Okay. So I want to encourage everybody again, go to 40over40.com, 40over40.com. Get on, put your email in. We got a fun little free download for you to inspire you. And if you want to go ahead and get into the program, you'll certainly get information for that. You can go to my YouTube at Dr. Kyle Hulsebus and see many other videos that I've put on there. If you'd like to find my chiropractic office, I'm in Northern Illinois. It is M as in Mary, P as in Paul, Hulsebus, just like you see my name on here, .com. And you can see my clinic information. Before you say I'm in Europe, that's a long ways away. We've had people that have flown from Vietnam to see us. We've had people come from all over the United States to see us. I've had people come from London to see us, and even gotten feedback from people in France and Italy that have traveled through and seen us, and even for a short time, because if nothing else, we're able to look at you with the philosophy that we espouse and help you find that in wherever local area you're at, or even help you in that area. I've had people come from for a long time in order to do our care, in order to help them get back on track to health. So if you want to have more, those are the three opportunities I would give you to go through that. But certainly.
Oh, just a little something for those individuals who are not able to see and just listen to this podcast. Hulsebus is spelled H-U-L, S as in Sam, E, B as in boy, U, S as in Sam. Thank you.
It's exactly how I spell it. Look at you. mphulsebus.com is the site for my clinic, my chiropractic clinic. So please feel free, and we do offer some workshops occasionally that you can certainly ask about on top of that. So beautiful.
Okay. Now give us your wisdom.
If health is a state of wholeness, then, and really, we're always whole. We talk about having misalignments in the body, and every single human being has them all the time. And I can adjust you till the end of time, and they'll still be there. It's not so much about what misalignments you have, but how well you adapt to circumstances around you and take care of them, and how well you can observe everything you see around you. One of the funnest things I have from studying linguistics and languages, and just one of the things, the great loves of my life, is, how do we communicate, obviously, with words and in different ways. And you, Elena, know that, of course, I've studied Spanish and Portuguese and Italian and many other Romance languages on top of that. But it's fun to come across words and you see the great sort of evolution of them behind that. So to leave you with a little bit of food for thought and some wisdom, I'm going to go through a little bit of French.
Oh, I love this.
And the word to say hello in French, as I learned French, was bonjour. The easiest way is like buenos dias, and Spanish, of course, but bonjour. And I sit there and I go, literally it would translate as like good day. And then I know when you leave a shop in France, they'll say bonne journée, to have a nice day. But I looked that up. I go, that's interesting, because in English it sounds like journey. And I have a linguistic friend and an instructor in a class. And then I looked it up on my own in etymology, and I found out that they are related. And I gave a little talk on this on the YouTube, but it comes from going way back to Proto-Indo-European, the idea of the sun going from sunrise to sunset, the day. And that's where we get day. That's jour. And journée was like diurno in Latin, meaning the time it takes to go from, the time you can travel from sunrise to sunset, meaning your day's journey. And over the course of centuries, it developed into the journey of your life. And so journey comes from that. It was about going out and doing work and having an objective. And then it turned into going through life and having an objective. And then we can call it the journey of the great conversation and the journey of time, so we can see the objective going through for eternity, starting in infinity and coming unending. That journée, that journey. And so the food for thought I leave you is what journey do you have for the next 5 minutes, for the next day, for the next decade of your life? What journey can you take? And remember, it's just a day at a time. It's one jour, one day, one Dios.
What is the next step?
Let's take the next step. It's the simplest way. Dr. B.J. Palmer had a great quote in chiropractic we repeat often. It's, you never know how far-reaching something you think, say, or do today can affect the lives of millions tomorrow. And we say in chiropractic, it means one adjustment, one time on one individual for one segment can affect the entire journey of life of that individual throughout time, and everybody the ripple effect will go on to everybody they touch forever. So that's what I aim to do with just one simple talk, one simple idea, one simple adjustment of health for you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for that. Now I got to a new summary of the episode is when you have wellness, you expel wellness. Because you don't just touch that person, you touch the world around that person. Thank you, Kyle. It was an honor to have you here, and I hope to see you soon. And I can't wait to hear what you continue to create. And I'm definitely want to come and see you and let you touch my wealthness. For you have already, by the way. Thank you for being you. Thank you for role playing and for teaching us and educating us today on wealth and human potential. Until the next time, I'll see you soon. And to those of you who are here listening, please just remember, one step, 1 hour, one day, you can make the difference within yourself and everything around you. Just one step. Thank you for joining.